My name is Lewis, and for the longest time, I thought I had it all figured out. A stable marriage, a comfortable home in the suburbs, and a wife I believed I could trust with my life. Olivia and I had been married for 7 years, 7 years that I thought were built on honesty, loyalty, and mutual respect. We weren't perfect, but we were solid. Or so I believed. Looking back now, I realize how blind I was. How easily I accepted her excuses. How willingly I swallowed every lie she fed me, wrapped in the neat packaging of work stress and career ambitions. It started subtly, the way these things always do. About 6 months before everything fell apart, Olivia began changing. At first, it was small things, barely noticeable shifts in her behavior that I brushed off as normal life adjustments. She started coming home later than usual, sometimes well past 9 or 10 at night. When I'd ask how her day went, she'd offer vague responses. Busy, stressful, same old stuff. Nothing concrete. Nothing I could latch onto. I remember one particular evening in early March. I'd made her favorite dinner, honey-glazed salmon with roasted vegetables, and had the table set with candles by the time she was supposed to arrive home at 6:30. 6:30 came and went. Then 7. Then 8. I texted her twice, both messages going unanswered for over an hour. When she finally walked through the door at 8:45, the salmon was cold and rubbery, the candles had burned down to stubs, and I was sitting on the couch feeling foolish and worried. "Oh my God, Lewis, I'm so sorry," she said, genuinely looking distressed. "There was this last-minute crisis with the Henderson account, and I had to stay late to fix it. My phone died and I couldn't find my charger anywhere." She kissed me apologetically, and I forgave her instantly. Because that's what you do when you love someone, right? You give them the benefit of the doubt. You trust their explanations. You don't immediately jump to worst-case scenarios. But then it kept happening. Different excuses, same pattern. The client needed changes. My boss called an emergency meeting. The presentation isn't ready yet. Each time, she seemed genuinely sorry. Each time, I believed her. She began spending more time on her phone, too. Constantly texting, constantly scrolling, her face illuminated by that blue glow even during dinner. We used to have a rule, no phones at the table, but somehow that rule just dissolved. She'd be mid-conversation with me, then her phone would buzz, and her attention would instantly shift. Her fingers would fly across the screen, a small smile playing at her lips as she typed. "Who's that?" I'd ask casually. "Just work stuff," she'd reply without looking up. When I'd glance over, trying to see what was so engaging, she'd tilt the screen away or quickly lock it, laughing it off. "Babe, you're being nosy," she'd tease, but there was something sharp underneath the playfulness. Something that made me feel like I was crossing a line by simply being curious about my own wife's life. I started noticing other things too. New clothes appearing in her closet, professional but form-fitting dresses, blouses with lower necklines than she usually wore. "Got to look good for client meetings," she explained with a shrug when I complimented a particularly striking red dress I'd never seen before. She started working out more frequently too. Not that she'd been out of shape before, but suddenly she was hitting the gym 4, sometimes 5 times a week. Coming home flushed and energized, talking about how good it felt to invest in herself. I was proud of her. I thought she was just going through a positive self-improvement phase. God, I was naive. Then came the weekend emergencies. Olivia worked in corporate communications for a mid-sized tech firm called Nexus Digital. A demanding job, sure, but not one that typically required her to rush into the office on a Saturday morning or stay late on a Sunday evening. Yet suddenly her boss needed her. Deadlines popped up. Projects couldn't wait. I remember one Saturday in late June. We'd planned to drive to the coast for the weekend, a little getaway we'd been talking about for months. I'd booked a bed and breakfast, made reservations at a seafood restaurant she'd been wanting to try. We were supposed to leave Friday night. Friday afternoon, she called me from work, her voice tight with stress. "Lewis, I'm so sorry, but something came up with the Morrison project. It's a disaster. I have to stay late tonight and probably come in tomorrow morning to fix it. Can we postpone the trip?" I felt disappointment crash over me like a wave, but I swallowed it down. "Of course," I said. "Work comes first. We can go another time." "You're the best," she said, relief flooding her voice. "I promise I'll make it up to you." She came home that night around 11, looking exhausted. Went straight to bed without much conversation. The next morning, she was up and out by 8, laptop bag in hand, wearing those tight jeans and a fitted blazer that seemed a bit too stylish for a solo Saturday at the office. I'll text you when I'm done, she said, kissing me quickly. Hopefully won't be more than a few hours. Those few hours turned into the entire day. She came home after 7 that evening, claiming the project had been even worse than expected, but it was fixed now. She seemed wired, energized despite supposedly working for 11 straight hours. She suggested we order Thai food and watch a movie, and we did, and it was nice. Normal. Like us. I canceled the bed and breakfast reservation and ate the deposit cost. We never rescheduled that coastal trip. Looking back now, I can see it all so clearly. The patterns, the excuses, the gradual emotional distance that I kept explaining away as work stress or natural relationship evolution. I can see how she slowly stopped initiating physical intimacy, how our conversations became more surface level, how she seemed distracted even when we were together. But at the time, I was just trying to be a supportive husband, trying not to be clingy or demanding, trying to give her space to pursue her career ambitions without adding pressure. "I'm so sorry, Louis," she'd say, kissing my forehead as she grabbed her laptop bag for yet another weekend work session. "I'll make it up to you, I promise." And I believed her. Every single time. I should have questioned it. I should have asked more. I should have paid attention to the gnawing feeling in my gut that something wasn't right. But I didn't want to be that husband, the suspicious, controlling type who couldn't trust his wife to do her job. I wanted to be supportive, understanding, modern. I wanted to give her the freedom and respect she deserved. What a fool I was. What a blind, trusting, pathetic fool. It was a Tuesday night in late September. I'd spent the day working from home, dealing with my own deadlines and projects, looking forward to a quiet evening with my wife. Olivia had texted me around 3 that afternoon. "Gonna be a bit late. Strategy meeting ran over. Probably grabbing dinner with some colleagues after. Don't wait up. Love you." I'd responded with a thumbs up and a heart emoji, then ordered myself a pizza and settled in to watch a documentary about World War II aircraft. She came home around 8:30, looking tired but not unusually so. She was wearing a navy blue dress I'd seen before, her hair pulled back in a professional bun. She carried a faint scent of restaurant food, Italian maybe, and wine. "How was your day?" I asked from the couch. "Exhausting," she said, kicking off her heels with a sigh of relief. "That meeting was brutal, and then Sarah insisted we all go to Angelo's for dinner. I just wanted to come home, honestly." "Well, you're home now," I said, smiling. "Want to watch something together?" "Actually, I think I'm just going to take a quick shower and crash," she said apologetically. "I'm completely drained." "Rain check." "Of course," I said, trying not to feel disappointed. "Go relax." She kissed the top of my head absently and headed toward our bedroom. A minute later, I heard the bathroom door close and the shower start running. I turned back to my documentary, trying to focus on the narrator describing the engineering marvels of the B-17 bomber. But my attention kept drifting. Something felt off, though I couldn't articulate what. Then her phone buzzed on the coffee table. Normally, I wouldn't even glance at it. Privacy was something we both respected in our marriage. We'd never been the type of couple who read each other's texts or demanded access to each other's devices. That kind of surveillance felt unhealthy, suffocating, the opposite of the trust-based relationship we'd built. But something about the way it kept buzzing, 3 times in quick succession, made me look. The screen lit up with preview notifications. "Ethan, can't stop thinking about last night, Red Heart." "Ethan, you looked incredible in that dress." "Ethan, when can I see you again?" My stomach dropped. The phone screen went dark, but those words remained burned into my vision. I sat there frozen, the documentary forgotten, my pizza sitting heavy and cold in my stomach as the shower continued running in the background. Can't stop thinking about last night. Last night. Monday night. The night she'd said she was working late on the Morrison project. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. My hands felt numb. Part of me wanted to put the phone down, to ignore what I'd just seen, to pretend everything was fine. But the other part, the part that suddenly felt sick and hollow and terrifyingly awake, needed to know the truth. I picked up her phone with trembling hands. Her passcode was our wedding anniversary, 0-7-1-8. July 18th, the day we'd promised to love each other forever, for better or worse, in sickness and health, till death do us part. She'd never changed it. Why would she? We trusted each other. The phone unlocked. I opened the messaging app with trembling hands and found the conversation with Ethan. What I saw over the next 10 minutes shattered 7 years of my life into a million irreparable pieces. The messages went back months. Dozens, no hundreds, of texts exchanged between them. Flirty banter. Inside jokes. Explicit photos I never wanted to see. Plans to meet up during work trips that I now realized had nothing to do with business. But it wasn't just the affair itself that gutted me. It was the calculated deception. The cold, deliberate lies. One message thread particularly stood out. It was from about 3 weeks earlier, late at night. Ethan, you sure he doesn't suspect anything? Olivia, Lewis? No way. He's too trusting. I told him you're just helping me with work stuff. He bought it completely. Ethan, lucky me smirking face. Olivia, lucky us. He'll never know. I read that exchange 3 times, each time feeling a fresh wave of nausea crash over me. He's too trusting. He bought it completely. He'll never know. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was laughing about it, mocking my trust, using my love for her as a shield to hide behind while she betrayed me in the worst possible way. I scrolled further. There were hotel bookings, rooms charged to her corporate card, justified as client entertainment expenses. Voice messages she'd sent him during her supposed overtime shifts, her voice dripping with affection I hadn't heard directed at me in months. Photos taken in lingerie I didn't even know she owned. And woven throughout all of it were her reassurances to him. Don't worry about Lewis. He doesn't pay attention. He's always busy with his own stuff. He won't find out. The shower turned off. I quickly took screenshots, dozens of them, and sent them to my personal email. Then I carefully placed her phone back on the coffee table, exactly where she'd left it. When Olivia emerged from the bathroom wrapped in a towel, drying her hair, she smiled at me like nothing was wrong. Feel better? I asked, my voice somehow steady despite the hurricane raging inside me. Much, she said. I was exhausted. That meeting today was brutal. I nodded. Sounds rough. She kissed the top of my head and went to the bedroom to get dressed. I sat there on the couch, staring at nothing, my mind racing. I didn't confront her that night, or the next day, or even that week. Instead, I started planning. See, Olivia worked at a company with a very strict code of conduct. I knew this because she'd told me about it herself, how someone in her department had been fired a couple years back for having an inappropriate relationship with a subordinate, how HR took workplace ethics extremely seriously, how they had zero tolerance for dishonesty, conflicts of interest, or misuse of company resources. At the time, she'd talked about it like it was ridiculous corporate bureaucracy. Now I realized it was exactly the weapon I needed. I went through every screenshot I'd taken and organized them meticulously. Messages clearly showing their affair. Hotel bookings made during supposed business trips. Timestamps proving she was texting him during work hours, often explicitly, when she should have been focused on her job. Voice messages where she discussed company projects mixed with intimate personal details. It was all there. A complete, damning record of not just infidelity, but professional misconduct. Then I did something I'm still not entirely sure was right, but felt absolutely necessary. I created an anonymous email account and sent everything, to her company's HR department. The email was simple, professional, and devastating. To whom it may concern, I am writing to report a serious violation of company policy involving 2 of your employees, Olivia Chun and Ethan Williams. Attached you will find evidence of an ongoing inappropriate relationship that has involved misuse of company time, resources, and expense accounts. The evidence speaks for itself. I trust your department will handle this matter with the seriousness it deserves. Sincerely, a concerned party. I hit send at 2:47 a.m. on a Thursday morning, while Olivia slept peacefully beside me, completely unaware that her world was about to implode. For 2 days, nothing happened. Life continued as normal. Olivia went to work, came home, acted like the loving wife she'd always pretended to be. I played along, watching her with new eyes, seeing all the little lies I'd missed before. Then came Monday. Olivia left for work at her usual time, 7:30 a.m., dressed professionally, coffee in hand, completely unsuspecting. I went to my own job, tried to focus, and waited. At 11:47 a.m., my phone buzzed with a text from her. Olivia, HR wants to see me. Not sure what this is about. Probably something stupid. Call you later. I didn't respond. 2 hours later, another text. Olivia, they're asking me about Ethan. Lewis, I think someone complained about us working together too much. This is ridiculous. Still, I said nothing. By 3 p.m., she called. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. And again. Finally, at 4:30, she came home. I was sitting at the kitchen table when she walked in. Her face was pale, her eyes red from crying, her hands shaking as she set down her bag. "Louis," she whispered. "Something terrible happened." I looked up at her calmly. "What?" "They. HR. They suspended me. Someone sent them." She couldn't finish the sentence. She just stood there, trembling, looking at me like I was supposed to save her. "Sent them what?" I asked evenly. "Messages. Between me and Ethan. Private messages, Louis. Someone invaded my privacy and sent them everything." "Messages about work?" I asked, my voice cold now. She hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. "Olivia," I said slowly, "were these messages just about work?" Her face crumpled. "Louis, I made a mistake. A huge mistake. But it didn't mean anything, I swear." "Don't." I held up my hand. "Don't you dare insult me with more lies." She started crying harder. "How did you send them? Did you do this?" I didn't answer directly. Instead, I pulled out my phone and opened the email I'd sent to myself with all the screenshots. "Don't worry, Louis thinks you're just helping me with work," I read aloud. "He's too trusting. He bought it completely. He'll never know." The color drained from her face entirely. "Those are your words, Olivia. Your exact words." "Louis, please." "How long?" I asked quietly. "What? How long?" She couldn't look at me. "For months. For months. For months of lies. For months of coming home to me, sleeping beside me, letting me believe everything was fine while she was with him." "Get out," I said. "Louis, please, can we just talk?" "Get out." The next week was a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and cold, clinical conversations about asset division and divorce proceedings. Olivia tried everything. Apologies. Promises. Tears. She begged for another chance, claimed it was just a moment of weakness, swore she'd never speak to Ethan again. But it was too late. The trust was gone. The love was gone. All that remained was bitter clarity. HR's investigation moved quickly. Within 10 days, Ethan was fired for gross misconduct and violation of company policy. Olivia was officially demoted, stripped of her managerial title, placed on probation, and required to attend mandatory ethics counseling. Her annual bonus, which she'd been counting on, was revoked. Her reputation within the company was destroyed. Mutual friends started hearing whispers. Some reached out to me with support. Others quietly distanced themselves from both of us, not wanting to get involved in the drama. I moved out of our house into a small apartment across town, filed for divorce, blocked her number, and through it all I felt nothing. No rage, no sadness, just a cold, quiet satisfaction that the truth had come to light and justice, however imperfect, had been served. People have asked me since if I regret what I did. If sending those messages to HR was too far. If I should have just confronted her privately and handled it like adults. My answer is always the same: no. I don't regret it. She made her choices. She lied to me, to her employer, and to herself. She used company resources to facilitate an affair while mocking my trust behind my back. She didn't just betray me personally, she acted unethically professionally. I didn't ruin her life. She did that herself. I simply made sure the people who needed to know the truth actually knew it. Would I have preferred to stay married to a faithful wife? Of course. Would I have chosen a different path if she'd been honest with me? Absolutely. But she wasn't. And so I did what I had to do. Some nights, lying alone in my new apartment, I think about those 7 years. The good moments we shared. The dreams we built together. And I wonder if any of it was ever real, or if I was just a comfortable placeholder while she waited for someone more exciting to come along. I'll probably never know the answer to that. But what I do know is this: I'm free now. Free from the lies. Free from the pretense. Free from a relationship built on sand. And honestly, that's enough. It's been 6 months since everything fell apart. The divorce was finalized last month, quick, clean, and surprisingly painless from a legal standpoint. Emotionally, of course, it's been harder. I've also started dating again. Nothing serious yet, just coffee dates, casual conversations, testing the waters. It's strange, learning to trust again after what happened. But I'm trying. Olivia, from what I've heard through mutual acquaintances, is struggling. She's still at the company, but hated by most of her colleagues. Ethan moved to another city. They're not together, Apparently, their relationship fell apart almost immediately once the secrecy and excitement were gone. Part of me feels sorry for her. A small part. The part that remembers who she used to be, or who I thought she was. But mostly, I just feel relieved. Relieved that I found out when I did. Relieved that I didn't waste more years on someone who didn't value me. Relieved that I had the strength to walk away. Life goes on. It always does. And mine finally feels like it's moving in the right direction. Thank you for watching the video to the end. YouTube may no longer suggest my channel to you, so subscribe to it to receive new interesting stories. You will also help the channel grow and improve the quality of its content. A playlist with other interesting stories that you can listen to is now displayed on the screen. You can also write in the comments what stories you would like to see on the channel.